Hi, my name is Laura and I am a type 1 diabetic and have been for 25 years. On this channel, I'm hoping to share information that many different people will be interested in. And since it's Diabetes Awareness Month this month, today's topic is diabetes. Diabetes sucks. Yeah, I said it. No doubt about it. I hate it. Hate it. But I am stuck with this ridiculously relentless disease for my entire life, or until there is a cure, which I have been told is only 5 years away. Oh, and I've been told this every single year since I got diabetes. In fact, I've heard that line more times than I've heard people compare me to their diabetic cat, which, by the way, has been at least 10 times. I kid you not. Until I am cured, I just do my best every day of my life to stay as healthy as possible and as positive as possible. In fact, I even wrote a book on living with diabetes. It's called Too Sweet, the Not So Serious Side to Diabetes, and it's a more lighthearted approach to living with diabetes rather than all the doom and gloom that's out there right now. Anyway, it's on Amazon. You can check it out after this video, and the link is in the copy below. A big component to doing my best is being as healthy as I can and to constantly be on the lookout and try new diabetes technology and medications. I am what you would call an early adopter. I'm usually among the first people in the United States to try anything related to making diabetes easier. I am the guinea pig of diabetes for all of us. You're welcome. 3 years ago, I was one of the first people in the world to be prescribed Afrezza. It is the inhalable insulin. Here's my inhaler, cute little inhaler. And all you have to do is breathe out and breathe in. And that's all there is to it. So simple. Before taking Afrezza, I had been on flex pen injections and then the insulin pump and hypodermic needles. Remember those archaic things? Now, what I'm about to tell you, I do not want you to take with a grain of salt. Afrezza has completely changed my life like nothing, absolutely nothing ever before has. There are many reasons for this, and I'm just going to start giving them to you. This is ultra rapid acting insulin. Injectable insulin calls itself rapid acting, but compared to Afrezza, it's like a turtle racing a hare. Afrezza works almost instantly and only stays in your system for like 1.5 to 2 hours, which eliminates the stacking of insulin. Now, if you don't know, stacking insulin is when you take a dose to correct a high or eat, and then you take another dose shortly after that to correct, and then maybe another dose after that to correct again because it doesn't look like it's working, and then all of a sudden you're at a glucose level of 43 and eating everything in your path, and including yelling at strangers and being really nasty. That's my excuse at least. But on Afrezza, if I had a high and corrected, an hour and a half later, if I'm still high, I can redose again without the worry about that horrible scenario that I just gave you. No more having highs that take an eternity to come down. They are fixed in almost real time. And if you wear a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor, you can watch this happen. Next thing is, I never have overnight lows that I wake up at 2 a.m. sweating and shaking and feeling like I'm gonna pass out anymore. Anyone who's diabetic knows that is the scariest thing to go to sleep at night when you just have no clue what's gonna happen with your blood sugars. And I used to have these all the time. Now I don't have them anymore. And this is because I know when I go to sleep that I have no more rapid acting insulin in my body, providing my last dosage was at least 2 hours before bed. My surprise lows are eliminated. Now don't get me wrong, I love surprises, but only if they're in pretty boxes with bows or involve airline tickets or maybe a party for me. Now get this fact, I don't really have to count carbs anymore. Crazy, right? Yeah. When you switch to Afrezza from injectable insulin, it isn't a 1-to-1 ratio. Afrezza comes in 4-unit, 8-unit, and 12-unit cartridges. And if you're taking between 2 and 4 units of injectable insulin, you usually take a 4-unit cartridge. If you're taking between 5 and 8 units of injectable insulin, you take an 8-unit cartridge, and between 9 and 12, you take a 12-unit cartridge. In all transparency, myself, I never take anything other than a 4-unit. The only exception for this is Mexican food and margaritas, which I pretty much have every Friday night, but that might require an 8-unit cartridge. And if I take my kids out and have hamburgers and french fries and milkshakes, and yes, I can eat those things, but for the most part, I use 4-unit cartridges, and that's about it. Generally speaking, you can guesstimate with carbs. You don't have to be right on the money like you do have to be with injectable insulin. In my experience, I can be off between 14 and 20 grams of carbohydrates. That's the equivalent for me of 1 to 1.5 units of insulin, and I'll still get the end result of a good blood sugar. Now that's what I call smart insulin. Now, what do you do if you're having something to eat that you only want to take a little bit of insulin for, or you are really insulin sensitive like me, and the 4-unit cartridge is too much? Or what do you do if you have a 150 and you want to correct it down to a 130 and a 4 unit will correct you down too far? Well, that happens to me every day. I snack constantly, I eat all day long, so I break cartridges a lot to make 2 unit cartridges. Now, I know the Afrezza people are making 2 unit cartridges one day down the road. However, right now they don't exist, so I have to get creative and make them myself. This is an example of a used 4 unit cartridge. Okay, I am going to open this up just by separating the 2 things. You just snap it right open, very simple. And I'm going to take a cartridge that is unused, and here's how it comes in these little plastic sleeves. And I am going to open this one up as well. Okay, and you can see in there is the insulin. See the white insulin in there? Now I'm going to pour it into, I'm going to just share a little bit of the insulin until I get it like half and half. See? So now I kind of split that insulin, and now I'm going to close it. Again, the same way, snap the top on, push it forward. Now I have a 2 unit cartridge, and I have another 2 unit cartridge here because I just split it. So now I'm going to close this one up. Now, how do I know that these are 2 unit cartridges, right? Well, what I do is I take a Sharpie and I just mark the top of it like that. And I'll mark the top of this one, same way, like that. So now I know how to identify them, basically, and I will put them into a little plastic bag, and I'll have a little collection of 2 units for when I need to take those. Okay, so back to the benefits. No more needles, yay! Just a puff of the inhaler and you're done in a second. How incredible is that? You just carry the insulin in your pocket and take it out whenever you need it and just take it. Now, you know, the thing is, public displays of diabetes never bothered me. I'm like that I'm proud to be diabetic kind of girl, but it does bother a lot of people, and I don't blame you. You don't want to be shooting up in front of people, and now you don't need to. Plus, no more pinches, no more bleeders. You know what I'm talking about, right? When you inject yourself and you hit something just a little bit wrong, and then blood is splurting everywhere. Yeah, so when you wrap all this up, you can see that predictability is the hugest benefit of Afrezza. I can exercise without worrying about a low, I can drive without worrying about a low, and I can go to sleep without worrying about a low. And if I ever start to go high from adrenaline while working out or from an incorrect dose, I can correct it quickly and not miss a beat or a point if you're talking about my tennis game. Afrezza brings down blood sugar in record time. This is how I got hooked to begin with. The first time I tried it, I had a blood sugar of 345 due to my own delay of taking insulin during happy hour. Oops. I mean, it happens, human, okay? But I took 1 puff and my blood sugar was completely normal in 1 hour. On injectable insulin, does not happen. Never. 1 hour to get your blood sugar down from a 345, not happening. Let's talk side effects, because I know everyone's concerned. They hear people talking, they don't know what they're talking about, and they hear these things that they think that they're gonna have side effects if they take this insulin. Well, I am here to say that I have 0 side effects. Coughing is the main thing that people are concerned about. I do not have a cough with Afrezza. I've been on it for 3 years. Every once in a while, when I inhale, I might cough for a second, but that's normal and it rarely happens to me. It has not impacted my lung capacity at all. In fact, I'm at the top of my game right now in tennis. I have 0 breathing issues and have never had any. The FDA says that you shouldn't use Afrezza if you're asthmatic, and here's a little secret. I have seasonal asthma, asthma which is brought on by certain pollens in the air, and Afrezza has 0 impact on that, and I am still able to take it with no problem whatsoever. Even when I'm short of breath due to pollen times, I could take the Afrezza with no problem. I also got the flu once when I was on Afrezza, and I had a terrible cough and a high fever. You know the drill when it comes time to the flu, and my blood sugar was perfect the entire time I was on Afrezza, which is shocking to me because anytime I've been sick before, my blood sugar goes wacky. As a side note, the skeptic in me wanted to look into this a little bit further, because if I was sick, I was like, I want to find out if this is okay for me to take the Afrezza. So I went to a pulmonologist and I said, what do you think about me taking inhalable insulin while I am this sick? And he said, is it working for you? And I said, yeah, really good. He goes, well, keep taking it. So there you have it. And if you're wondering, I use Tresiba for my long-acting insulin, and I take it in the morning, and I found that this is the best long-acting I've ever used. It's just not exciting to make a video about this, so I'll just throw in this little tidbit at the end. I also just had the Eversense CGM inserted into my arm a few weeks ago. I am one of the first in the US for that too, and I'm going to make another video about that in a couple of weeks. As you know, no one's diabetes is the same. All opinions are my own, and everything I do is what works for me. Because everyone's physiology is different and we are all different weights and have different activity levels, what works for me might not work for you. So you need to find your balance. And I can promise you, if you stick with Afrezza, you will figure it out and you will never, ever, ever go back to injectable insulin again. I will do anything to get Afrezza, including beg, borrow, or steal. I am not above it, and I really highly suggest you keep yours locked up. As always, from the bottom of my sugary sweet heart, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you think in the comment sections below. And if you have any questions about Afrezza, leave them there too. I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you so much. Bye.